In this video, we'll explain how to terminate a Panduit shielded TG jack module. This video is divided into chapters so we can explore each step of the termination process, including how to identify the cable end, prepare the cable, orient the cable to a straight TG wire cap, and terminate a Panduit shielded TG jack on both cable ends 1 and 2.
When terminating any of Panduit's copper connectors, you must first begin by identifying the cable end. Begin by holding a section of cable so that it is stripped on both ends. Looking into both ends of the cable, you can see that the collared conductor pairs are a mirror image of each other, so each cable end must be terminated differently to ensure that the wires are mapped correctly. Hold each end of the cable so that the brown and blue pairs are positioned to the left on both cable ends. On cable end 1, the brown pair is positioned on the bottom left and the blue pair is positioned on the top left. On cable end 2, the brown pair is positioned on the top left and the blue pair is positioned on the bottom left. To begin, set the CJast tool to a cutting depth of 3. The higher the number on the CJast, the deeper the cut will be. It's better to begin with a lower cutting depth and then increase it if necessary to avoid cutting into the cable. Insert 1.5 to 2 inches of the cable into the tool and carefully rotate the tool around the cable 2 to 3 times. Gently bend the cable to remove the jacket and remove any extra materials. Be careful to leave the shielding and drain wire intact. Next, pull the shielding straight back along the cable so that there is only one thin layer of foil between the cable and the wire cap. Do not wind the foil around the cable end or it will be difficult to fully seat the wire cap. Notice that there is a small gap between the ends of the foil. There must be a solid, continuous piece of foil where the strain relief will contact the cable. On cable end 1, the foil should be positioned between the blue and orange conductor pairs. Next, carefully bend the conductor pairs down and away from the center to allow access to the divider. Use your snippers to cut the divider flush with the remaining cable jacket. It is best to partially cut through most of the divider and then twist it off to avoid nicking or cutting the insulation on the conductor pairs or the conductor pairs themselves. If there's a drain wire present, route it between the blue and orange conductor pairs and pull it back along the cable, laying it on top of the foil shielding. To properly terminate any TG jack, the most important thing to consider is the orientation of the jack module compared to the wire cap and collar-coated conductor pairs. To help us understand proper orientation, let's start by identifying the parts of the jack module and wire cap that we will be referencing. TG wire cap. There are 3 components to identify on the TG wire cap. They are the strain relief, the castle, and the keeper. The strain relief is located on the end of the wire cap that slides onto the cable jacket. The strain relief depresses onto the cable jacket to hold the wire cap firmly onto the cable, preventing any movement that could negatively impact the connection. The other side of the wire cap is known as the castle. Inside the castle are 2 posts that separate the conductor pairs when terminating cable end 2. The keeper is a small cavity on top of the wire cap. The keeper connects the wire cap to the jack module. There are 2 components to identify on the jack module. They are the latch and the catch. The latch is where the RJ45 jack retaining latch secures the plug into the jack module. The latch is located on the front of the jack module. The catch is located towards the rear of the jack module, on the same side as the latch. The catch on the jack module snaps into the keeper on the wire cap to connect them together. The front of the jack module refers to the opening where the RJ45 will temporarily plug in, and the rear is where the wire cap will snap into the jack module. The orientation of the jack module refers to whether the latch on the jack module is facing up or down, and it is this orientation that will determine the correct placement for your conductors inside the wire cap. During termination, You must ensure that the jack module, the wire cap, and the conductors maintain the same orientation for the correct wire mapping. When terminating cable end 1 with the straight TG wire cap, pay attention to the blue and the orange pairs. Always position the cable so that the blue and orange pairs are oriented in the same direction as the strain relief on the wire cap and the catch and the latch on the jack module. For example, if the latch is facing downwards, both the strain relief and the blue and orange pairs will also be positioned downwards. If the latch is facing upwards, the strain relief and the blue and orange pairs will also be positioned upwards. Be sure to always maintain this orientation and positioning throughout the entire termination process. Now that the cable is prepared and we understand the proper way to orient the cable, we can perform the termination. Cut approximately a half an inch or 1.25 centimeters of 2 of the conductor pairs. It's much easier to guide just 2 of the conductor pairs into the wire cap at a time. Position the 4 conductor pairs so that they can be guided through the 4 quadrants of the wire cap. Ensure the strain relief is fully open. If not, squeeze the 2 tabs on the strain relief to raise it to the top position. Insert the conductors into the strain relief end of the wire cap according to the TIA 568B wiring scheme, with the strain relief on the same side as the blue and orange pairs. Look into the castle and make sure that each conductor pair is placed in the correct quadrant. With your fingers, push the wire cap firmly onto the cable. Make sure that the wire cap is fully seated against the end of the cable jacket. Locate the tab on the green EGJT1 tool and ensure it is facing up with the tool fully open. Bend the conductor pairs to their respective sides to hold the wire cap securely into place. Place the wire cap into the matching size slot on the EGJT1 tool with the strain relief facing up. Close the tool and ensure that the tab comes down directly on top of the strain relief. Apply pressure on the tool above the strain relief and fully depress the strain relief firmly onto the cable jacket. Unbend the conductor pairs so they are returned to their original position in line with the cable. Give a firm tug on the wire cap to confirm that it is properly connected and no movement or slack are present. Any slack could allow the strain relief to press against the conductors only instead of the jacket, resulting in a faulty connection. If the wire cap moves, remove the wire cap and start again, ensuring that the strain relief is in contact with the cable jacket and not only the conductors. Next, untwist the conductor pairs to seat them into their respective grooves in the castle. If the blue pair is positioned on the left side of the wire cap, seat all white conductors on the left, with their colored counterparts on the right. If the blue pair is positioned on the right side of the wire cap, seat all white conductors on the right with their colored counterparts on the left. Untwist the pairs only as much as necessary to seat them into the cap. Any untwisting that occurs inside the wire cap can lead to crosstalk. If the wires become untwisted inside the wire cap, retwist them tighter than they were before. When you untwist them again, you should be able to seat each colored wire into the correct groove while maintaining the proper twist inside the cap. Double check that all conductors are fully seated in the correct location and position. Note, if you are terminating a Panduit copper connector according to the TIA 568A wiring scheme, you can swap position of the green and orange conductors after they've been inserted into the wire cap, before they are seated into their respective grooves. When routing the conductor pairs, cross the orange and green conductors around the post with the green pair positioned to the outside of the post. Once all of the conductors have been properly untwisted and seated, bend them perpendicular to the cable and wire cap and snip them flush with the outside wall of the wire cap. If the strain relief is placed on the jacket properly, the conductors will not move inside the wire cap and there is no need for excess wire. Place the jack module on the wire cap with the latch oriented to the strain relief and blue and orange conductor pairs. Hold the tool so that it is open with the tab facing down. Guide the cable between the rounded end of the tool and place the jack module into the slot. Hold the jack module firmly into the tool with one hand. With the other hand, lift the free end to push the wire cap into the jack module until you hear an audible click. The cable end 1 termination is complete, and now you can move on to cable end 2. When terminating cable end 2, the objective is to maintain correct wire mapping between ends 1 and 2. The steps to terminating cable end 2 are similar to cable end 1, with 2 main differences. The first main difference is the orientation of the conductor pairs compared to the wire cap and jack module. The second is the positioning of the pairs in the wire cap. To terminate cable end 2, begin by preparing the cable using the same process that you used to terminate cable end 1. Remember, on cable end 2, the brown pair is on the top left and the blue pair is on the bottom left as you look into the cable. Next, ensure that there is a solid continuous piece of foil positioned between the green and brown conductor pairs. If there's a drain wire present, route it between the green and brown conductor pairs and pull it back towards the cable, laying it on top of the foil shielding. If you notice that the gap in the foil is positioned between the wrong conductor pairs, snip approximately 2 inches off the cable and start again. When terminating cable end 2, position the cable so that the brown and green pairs are oriented in the same direction as the strain relief, the catch, the latch, and insert them into the wire cap. Be sure to always maintain this orientation and positioning throughout the entire termination process. Continue to follow the same steps as cable end 1 until the strain relief has been depressed. Before we untwist and seat the conductor pairs into the grooves of the wire cap, we need to reposition the conductor pairs on cable end 2 so that they map properly to cable end 1. When routing the conductor pairs, cross the orange and green conductors around the post with the green pair positioned to the outside of the post. Cross the brown and blue conductors around the post with the blue pair positioned to the outside of the post. The blue and green conductor pairs are routed to the outside of the post because it provides the most separation between these pairs, reducing crosstalk. The highest probability for crosstalk is between the blue and the green pairs. If you are terminating a Panduit copper connector according to the TIA 568A wiring scheme on cable end 2, you can simply swap the position of the blue and brown conductors after they have been inserted into the wire cap before they are seated into their respective grooves. Then fully seat the cross pairs into their respective grooves and complete the termination. Once you have completed the termination, it's time to test the installed permanent links. Testing the permanent links ensures that they perform in accordance with industry standard ANSI TIA 568 and the Panduit Certification Plus system warranty. Panduit accepts test results from a defined set of approved testers. You can find this list on the Panduit website. Read the manual to become familiar with setup and testing for your specific device.